Welcome to a 1 versus 1 between Koenradar here in blue. And I think it's better to start over here. You have this mechs that you can basically reach almost immediately instead of taking these mexes because they're a bit more spread apart. You have to walk a bit to get the second mex, but you get a more. I think you get a better start with this. You're more centralized and it's easy to expand and take these mixes. Like if you look at the distance here, you take that mix, and then you get these two mixes pretty early. So I think this is a better start. It's a little harder to defend, but yeah, I think that's fine really. So yeah, that's an idea. Helwor is starting here with a hovercraft platform and a engineer commander. And koenradar requested this replay. He did pretty well in the game and was generally ahead of Helwor, but then he lost it in the end. And yeah, so the matchup here is hover versus tanks, and Kodachis are pretty strong against hover. Like it's easy to mess up with Dag Micro and even Bolas Micro against Kodachis. So Kodachis are pretty strong overall. They're almost mono-spannable. You can basically spam Kodachis all the way until the enemy starts making maces or scalpels. Like yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty offensive start here for koenradar with two expensive raiders versus Helwor, who is being a bit defensive here. Yeah, so that's the advantage in standing this corner. It's pretty easy to seal off this corner. And you wouldn't expect bots on this map, I say. It's pretty hard to play bots here because hovers, rovers, and tanks have the mobility advantage. So going bots here is generally not, in a 1-1 is generally not recommended. Helwor is going for wind, and you can see the first engagement here. Helwor gets a good volley off. Maybe should have stayed in range and tried to kill off the Kodachi, but he chooses to retreat and still takes like half damage on the daggers. So yeah, both units are alive, and yeah, with good micro here, it's hard to overrun the Kodachi cost effectively. As long as you keep turning away, you have the retreat advantage. Like the Kodachi will fire on the ground in front of the daggers, even if daggers punch up, yeah, they're gonna take a lot of damage. So you're gonna be dancing here pretty effectively, trying to get some damage off, and it's like, it's always tense micro, like if you don't pay attention, you might draw into the enemy commander, or you might draw into the daggers. Yeah, and here you're gonna try to be sneaky and get behind there, but the enemy comes and chases you away. And yeah, you're both microing pretty well here, not losing units or not taking unnecessary damage. Like Kodachis have a 10-second regeneration, a 10-second time before they start regenerating 5 per health. So they will regenerate health slowly, but still taking damage is gonna be like, you don't want to take unnecessary damage because yeah, recovering this health is still gonna take like what is this, like yeah, like 50 seconds or something. So the Kodachi will still mostly be out of the fight. Here you have an idle commander, and that's kind of bad. You should be moving here, and you shouldn't really have an idle commander. I don't think there's any justifiable reason to have a commander idle here at this point. You can see here both players are still being careful with not trying to take too much damage. And Helwor is gonna go in, and yeah, he almost kills the Kodachi, but not quite, and he takes a lot of damage in return and chooses to retreat. Like even yeah, he's probably gonna try to wait for them auto repair, and you can see here, koenradar, yeah, both players are being really effective, not trying to lose units here, and it's the right choice. It's so easy to mess up dagger micro against Kodachis. And with some backup of Lotus turrets, yeah, it's not gonna be a big deal. I would also recommend you put your commander on high priority, like right now. There's the first loss. When you try to chase down the daggers here, that's kind of bad. Yeah, you don't want to be chasing daggers with low health Kodachis. So that is a bit of a misstep, but yeah, you still kept them on like quite a lot, and you forced enemy defenses. Yes, look how many turrets. Yeah, Helwor has been really careful. He made 4 turrets, but you haven't made any yet. Yeah, you made like 1 or 2 here. Yeah, you wanna That's the thing. Daggers have pretty low DPS, so once they're in your base, they only have 40 DPS per dagger. So they're still gonna struggle to like kill welders. Welders have a lot of HP, like 1007 is a lot of HP, so it's hard to even kill those. I don't really like Blitz early in the game against hovers. You see, it can barely 1v1 a Bolas, barely. So Blitz costs 300 and Bolas cost 180, and they're about the same speed. Yeah, they're exactly the same speed. So Blitz is just gonna lose outright in most situations against Bolas for cost. And they're not better at against daggers because they still take 2 shots to kill a dagger here. And here you're a bit out of positions, like if you would have, like one blitz is almost 2 kodachis. And you see, yeah, you don't even one-shot the dagger. And here you should be, instead of fight moving, you should be moving the blitzes here. It's something you have to consider when you're fighting daggers. Do you want to move command, or do you want to use fight command, attack move? I mean, attack move, they're gonna mostly stay out of range. But here you the same thing. It's 2 versus 1, and you just lose your blitz without doing any damage. Even a single Kodachi would probably have done more damage to this Bolas. Bolas doesn't really have any advantage. They're the same cost as a Kodachi. Like, if the Bolas can get a slow off on the Kodachi and catch it, it's gonna win. But it's gonna be heavily damaged, probably less than half health. And if the Bolas is trying to go from behind and chase down the Kodachi, it's gonna die. And your Kodachi is gonna live and gonna start regenerating. So you can really stay on mono Kodachi for quite a while. I think the Blitz switch here was a mistake. And you can see even like daggers are low DPS, and Bolas also have pretty low DPS, and welders have a lot of DPS. So even a 180 raider struggles to kill a lone welder here. If you would just have a turret to retreat to here, you could have kept the welder alive, or if you had had a Kodachi closer by, it would have kept alive. So welders are pretty spammable. I wouldn't recommend this on this map, but if it's a smaller map with closer max density, you can almost like spam welders and some defenses here and there, and a few Kodachis to defend them. But this map is quite wide open, so you probably don't want to overbuild welders too much. And here you can see that Helwor is trying to be effective, and yeah, he still managed to be cost effective because he out-microed you there a bit. But yeah, he still takes a lot of damage. He still lost some daggers, and yeah, he's gonna retreat and start repairing it. So yeah, Helwor is being really careful with his units, and he's basically forced to, because Kodachis can really own daggers if you miss micro. And here 2 Bolas go in, kill 1 max, but then the Lotus turrets and 2 Kodachis finish them off, no problem. It's almost the same cost basically. Bolas aren't that strong against defense. They're strong if they can go like in 5 and they just kill Lotuses 1 by 1. But as long as you keep some Kodachis here, you're gonna mess up the hover player's micro, because they might bunch up and they might take damage. So just having a few Kodachis is in defense is good, and it's usually better than blitzes. Like, blitzes doesn't trade cost effectively against Bolas. Yeah. Going against Lotusers and Bolas, probably not a good idea. Like, one thing that's easily done as well is that if you go in against solars or turrets, it's easy that you burn yourself with the Kodachis. They will damage each other, so yeah. But yeah, blitzes aren't that, they're about the same strength against defenses as Kodachis, so yeah, they're not that much better. You can see that you're accessing a little bit of metal, but it's not much. This map has a lot of metal, and you as keeping the energy income even. You want a little higher energy than you have metal income, and you're having that. While Helwor, if we pause the game, yeah, Helwor had previously a problem. Like, he was e-stalling quite a lot in this game. Like, if Helwor hadn't been e-stalling so much, yeah, he would have been a much more even game. You can see his wind. He was mostly depending on wind on this hill, and that put him quite a bit behind a few because of the wind spikes and like this. But now his energy up and running again, and he's in solar, so he's gonna try to overdrive mixes. But that also puts your total values even, but you still have a higher army value. And you can see, yeah, like Helwor got some kills. He's still got more attrition than you, But yeah, he's also being really defensive with defense in the middle. Locking down the middle on a map like this with defenses is pretty fine. It's also good if you wanna making a second factory here in the middle can be good. So it's a good idea because even if you're hovers, maces and scalpels are decently slow. So yeah, it's worth getting up a factory in the middle of the map just to make units faster and be able to make like riots and stuff like that. And you're gonna build a second factory here later. So yeah, it's a good idea to build a second factory on this map because even ogres are somewhat fast, but yeah, they're decently fast. Reapers are decently fast. Cyclops are not that fast. But yeah, most stuff in the tank factory is decently fast, so they still have time to move up to the front. But yeah, here's the question. You're like, yeah, you made a few blitzes, they didn't pay off. Yeah, you don't really need to make. I would suggest you don't make any blitzes until you see like maces coming out. Um, like if you have Kodachis in defense with Lotus turrets, that's just fine. Making a few Lotus turrets here and there is fine. Like Helwor isn't being managing to raid anything here, but still, if you have a few Welders, it's nice to build some Lotus turrets because that makes the defenses so much more unraidable for the daggers and the bolas if you just have some Kodachis in defense. Yeah, so you can see here that your heavy melter produce a metal used, and you can also see here that your energy income is stable and you're building more, and yeah, you haven't accessed a bit of metal. This is not the hugest thing on a map like this, like it's easy. You don't want to overbuild. I would almost argue that Helwor is overbuilding energy here. Like 80 metal, there's a lot of mexes to take instead of building this line of solar. Like he's not gonna get a lot of overdrive from this. Yeah. So yeah, accessing 800 metal in this situation is not bad. You're taking the map, you're taking control, you're ahead in metal produced, metal used, and you lost a few bit more units, so you're even in total value, but you still have a bigger army. Um, so yeah, I would probably just add one or two Lotus turrets here. It's nice when you're defending against dagger, like this situation. It's also pretty good to just create a front line with Lotus turrets to make it hard for them to push through. And how many welders do you have? 3 welders. I would probably have a few bit more welders, like 5. If it was a smaller map, I would be spamming out welder and having maybe like 10. But yeah, making a few too many welders is not that bad. It's almost pretty good against hovers. You will expand faster and you can just erect defenses as you need to. And daggers and bolas are still gonna struggle to get down the kill the daggers. And then you don't have to go into situations like these when you're like trying to chase down the daggers and they're just gonna run free. But you can also make like defenses reactively as you get incoming raiders on radar and stuff like that. And if the daggers stop to kill a welder, it's gonna buy you a lot of time in most situations because welders have a lot of HP and they might not kill that Lotus turret and they might not kill that mechs. And yeah, and you're gonna finish off those daggers. Meanwhile, you're doing some nice raiding here as well. You seem to be multitasking decently here. Yeah, so you're getting some through. If we were paying attention here, you could have Sadie's Kodachis, but yeah, it's hard to keep all these units alive, and it's hard to know when a mace is gonna come out or if it's just daggers. Yeah, ogres do pretty well against lone defenses as well, and they're traded evenly against maces, and they're a decent choice against Hubbard. Like Scalpel beats them somewhat for cost, but they trade evenly with maces, and they're good against bolas and daggers most of the time. They can still be overrun if they're completely alone, but you're sending out in groups of 2, then they're not as easy to overrun. And also adding some, if you have some like Kodachis next to the ogres, yeah, you're gonna be able to defend them quite nicely from groups of bolas and daggers. Yeah, and here you're gonna go in and you're gonna sacrifice like 3 ogres, I think, or is it 2 ogres to kill the commander and these 4 position. That's definitely worth it. Like, the hover player doesn't know when you're gonna put out ogres, so ogres is fine. Here though, you don't want to advance against a stringer, a mace, and a lotus turret. So I don't think yeah, this position is scouted. and you didn't even have raid on this position, but this is a pretty big loss to lose 2 ogres for, yeah, you didn't even kill a single unit there. And meanwhile, you have no, your Kodachis were out of position, and you have no Lotus Turret to defend again, so you lose these maxes pretty much for free, and then the enemy might run into your Kodachis. But yeah, even when Kodachis are like being chased, even when Bolas are being chased by Kodachis, the forward Kodachi is gonna get slowed down and it's gonna fall back, and the Bolas are gonna struggle to finish off Kodachis if you just have a lot of Kodachis when you're chasing Bolas. So chasing Bolas, if you have a lot more Kodachis, is alright. You might not kill the Bolas, but at least you're gonna scare them away and you might start doing damage to them. And here you're not paying attention and you run in the Kodachis one by one. These small things are things that add up if you don't pay attention. And here you have 2 ogres going against 2 maces, and the formation was kind of bad, and you lose 2 ogres. And is the last one gonna be able to finish the 2? Yeah, so the trade is almost even there. 4 Kodachis against this position, and it's not enough. You should have known there's a Stinger there and like 2 Lotus turrets here. So that's not... you kill the caretaker, it's kind of nice, prevents the enemy from repairing in the middle of the map, so... But still, not really worth it. Yeah, you now I can see your multitasking is struggling a bit. Like you're struggling to know where you're gonna advance and know, like, going in with 4 Kodachis here is not worth it. Yeah, like having the units in the right position to deal with the dagger pushes and stuff like that. It requires radar. I forgot to check your radar coverage throughout the game, but having radar always helps you to multitask and stuff like that. This radar didn't get built for some reason. It's nice to have. Yeah. Yeah, how many welders do you have? Yeah, you have 5 welders. That's a decent amount of welders. You can rebuild mexes fast, and even if the enemy gets some raids through, you can start rebuilding mexes. And even Helwor is struggling here a bit to know where he's gonna go, like just 1 mex there and stuff like that. So yeah, by this point you should know that the enemy has maces, and you don't wanna be mono spamming blitzes. I'd say you overbuilt Kodachs a bit, like if the enemy starts to push with a lot of maces, these Kodachis aren't gonna do a lot of against these maces. So blitzes, you can go blitzes against mace. Like if you catch a mace alone, you can kill it, but you might also, for every mace, it's easy to lose 1 blitz if your positioning isn't perfect and your maneuvering isn't perfect. So yeah, then you struggle in this position, like yeah, you're getting pushed by this many units like Scalpels. The Scalpels make is a decent counter to ogres, so yeah, like this is the push you gotta be afraid of. If you don't have a front line with stingers, this is the push you want to be scared of, like maces and Scalpels advancing. That's what tanks is really afraid of, because it's really hard to deal with cost effectively. Like, if you have a lot of blitzes, you can kill these cost effectively, but if you don't have enough blitzes, then all of them are just gonna die. So yeah, if you want to do efficient trade against these with blitzes, you need to have really overwhelming numbers of blitzes. Meanwhile, you're doing some raider, but it's getting late into the game, and the enemy has a decent amount of defenses. This late in the game is kinda hard to be cost effective with Kodachis unless you know what you're getting into, or have like... Getting a Sparrow can be a pretty good idea, like scouting out enemy positions, but you get an expansion here, which is pretty nice, so that's nice, prevent the enemy from expanding. And you're forcing away the enemy with this ogre. Yeah, so is there a good counter to Mace and Scalpel? I'd say the best counter is having some frontline defenses. Like if you have a central position with a Stinger and some Lotus turrets, it's gonna buy you time, and it's hard for the opponent to break, and you can defend with Kodachis and Ogre. I wouldn't recommend Minotaur against hovers. They're not that accurate, they're gonna miss the Mace's lock, and they're pretty bad against Scalpels. So I wouldn't recommend Minotaurs. And you can see the enemy is still getting some raiding here, but you're still ahead here, I think. And now you're slightly behind here, yeah. this is where you fall behind Rhea. You have been even up all the way until this point. You still have an even army, but the army composition is kind of bad. Like you have like 4,000 value of blitzes, and they're barely gonna be able to deal with this. And you have your units kind of out of position, and you lose some blitzes early, and you get finally catch a maze. But yeah, you lost a lot of blitzes. Like taking cost-effective trades against blitzes and scalpel with blitzes is really hard. Like you need to outmass them, have a good like concave and a good outmaneuver an enemy to actually be able to deal with them. Going for F4 factory is nice. Ampons against hover in this situation, I'm not sure it's that like what are you getting? Boys they are good against maces, but they trade evenly against scalpels. So you can make boys as a response to scalpel mace combo. If the enemy starts making more scalpels, yeah, then you're gonna trade evenly. Um, but it's basically only boy that's good in this situation. Getting some archers and dealing with dagger rates can also be decent. Ducks, they're alright raiders. Scallops, unless you throw them, are not good at all. They lose to maces, they lose to scalpels, and if you throw them in, they're probably gonna die against the area of effect of the scalpels and them. So I don't really like the choice of ampots. Like if you can get a Grislaut, it's pretty good. The enemy basically needs a lance to counter it, or needs to like overrun it with like like a pretty good combo is Grizzly with just blitzes. I mean Kodachis, because if the enemy tries to overrun you with daggers or bolas, you can just burn them when they bunch up trying to kill Grizzly. So Grizzly Kodachi is a pretty good combo that you could go for, but yeah, you didn't have yeah. But that requires quite a bit of investment to get a Grizzly out. But Grizzly is pretty good against maces and scalpel, and if the enemy can't overrun it, lance is only a decent counter. It's like gonna take it takes 3 shots to kill a lance, and you have the time to pull back and start repairing the Grizzly in that situation. So Grizzly is pretty good against hovers. It's pretty spammable, and if the enemy gets a lot of lances, you can start cloaking the Grizzlies. So yeah, boys trade evenly with hovers. Grizzly is pretty good against hovers, so if you go for a forward position like this with Amph, I would recommend making a Grizzly and starting pushing the enemy frontline and frontline defenses. But yeah, you can also do the same with Cyclops, and Cyclops is a bit faster compared to Grizzly. So Cyclops is also a decent option against hovers. It's gonna be able to skirmish against scalpels and maces, and you probably have to repair it, but yeah. Yeah, so you were pretty even here. Basically, your biggest mistake was making Blitz this game. That was your biggest mistake, I'd say. Blitzes will struggle against maces and scalpels, and they don't trade cost effectively against daggers and bolas. So it's a pretty good bad unit against hovers. Yeah, if you can get a ball up and you're out ecoing the opponent, you can like secure a game with blitz. You can secure a game with blitz. Like a lone mace, if you just overrun it, you might even be able to overrun it and stun it before it kills a blitz. And you can overrun single lotus turrets. So this is just food for blitzes. Like if you go here and like keep raiding them with blitzes. But Kodachis can almost do the same thing. Like if you go in here with the same first full cost, if you go in with blitzes, you go in, take a slight bit of damage, and you kill the lotus turret. But yeah, if you know the position and have scouted this position with radar, you know it's easy to go in here with just with Kodachis as well. You drive like 5 Kodachis in here, you kill the first raider, you take some damage. You go in, kill the next Lotus Earth, yeah, take some more damage. Maybe you have like a low health Kodachi left alive. Then you can retreat the Kodachi like and let it just stand there. And then the 4 more healthy Kodachis can keep killing the Lotus turrets. And you're gonna like for cost, I think that Kodachis are almost always better at raiding than blitzes. Blitzes are only good; they're decent against rovers. Um, but yeah, I don't. You can try it against hovers, but yeah, but blitzes don't have as good self heal. They're gonna take forever to start self healing, and they have more HP. And if you don't repair them, yeah, it's like Kodachi's self heal is alright. You can, it's nice, but blitzes usually need healing to make cost. And if they need healing, you need more welders. And if you need more welders, you need more energy. And it's just gonna slow you down. And yeah, like you might be able to take a position like this with blitzes, but then you have to repair the blitzes, and the enemies might be pushing you in the center with hovers. If it was a smaller map, you can go even more defensive and have like even more welders out and just spam defenses like Stinger, Lotus turrets when you need them against mesas and to help you beat bolas, and a Stinger here and there to defeat the Scalpels is gonna force out like bombers or lances from the enemy to deal with the Stingers. And you can have Kodachis in the Rent-Light place, and you can choose if you wanna go a emissary artillery, or you can choose if you want to go like for Cyclops. I would generally skip Minotaur against hovers. It's gonna struggle to deal with scalpels, and it's gonna struggle to deal with mace as well. So, and it's not gonna do much against daggers and bolas. So I would recommend skipping Minotaur and going either for like emissary or Cyclops. Um, yeah, so blitzes were the biggest mistake in this game. So if we look at here at metal produced, yeah, you were ahead. If we look at metal use, it's a little bit tighter because you access like how much did you access? Yeah, 1,000 metal. 1,000 metal on this map is okay. It's not a big deal. Like the metal, like Helwor was starting to overdrive. Uh, like he was starting to overdrive a lot of it. A lot of his economy was overdrive. But if you look at economy value, he also invested quite a bit in overdrives as well. So yeah. Yeah, so I'd recommend building a few more welders, having a few more Lotus turrets around, and yeah, probably not make blitz at all against hovers. Meh. Against maces, they might do alright, but probably not. Against scalpels, sure, but Kodachis also can also deal with scalpels. Yeah. So those are my tips for you. Good luck and have fun.